guys, I'm your Comanche dating Raid Shadow Legends. I am not alone. I am joined by YST. YST, what's up, man? How you doing?
How's it going, Ash? Nice to be here once again. How you been?
Yeah, I've been great, man. How about you?
Not too bad, thanks. I seen that you just went to the what's it called? You went to an amusement park, right, with your son?
Yeah, dude, I've
Re-
been trying to. Well, I only have like two close to me, so I've been trying to like check them or compare them to try to find like a new go-to. And
yeah,
yeah, what about you? Do you have any over there in near London?
yeah. We've got a few. Probably maybe not as big as the ones you guys got out there, or as many, but
Okay.
it looks cool.
What
It
is
looks
your
cool.
biggest theme park in all of your area, or would I not even know it?
Closest to me would be something like Alton Towers, Fort Park. Any of your UK viewers would know what these are, but
Alton
um,
Towers. That sounds kind of cool. I have no idea what it is, but it sounds cool.
don't worry. Next time you come to the UK, we'll all go. We'll see.
Okay, sounds good, man. It's a plan. All right, so today we're going to talk about our personal picks for like that one legendary of every single faction that we think is just like absolutely criminally underrated. Even if these champions are considered to be pretty good, like we think they're S tier, or if people think they're like average, we think they're A tier, you know? So it's kind of beauty in the eye of the beholder here, but I really want to hear from you guys on which in each of these factions are your like absolute favorite. Why don't people talk about these legendaries more often? So YST, you're the guest here. I'm going to totally throw a curveball at you. Get ready.
Okay.
We're going to start with barbarians. Ooh, we're going to work our way
Oh,
from
do you
right
know
to
what?
left.
We're
Stop
so
this.
used to doing it in that order, right? It's like
I
left
know.
to right,
You
follow
were
the.
all ready to go, but I'm switching
Yeah.
things up for you,
Oh,
man. All right, so give me your barbarian, man. I'm putting you right on the spot here. And don't say Roth
one.
Matab, dude. I hate that guy.
All right. So one that I've got a sweet spot for, in a way, is gonna be Rorik Wormbane.
Oof.
I think he's a pretty underrated champion in this game. And it basically comes down to like niche clan boss speed tunes. A big shout out to Saf. He actually put him into his team, and the way that he manipulates the turn meter on the A1 is really cool. But away from that, he's actually got a very unique A3 skill with the Scale Breaker, where he can ignore 50% of the target's defense, but will always use this skill instead if the default skill, or when he's counterattacking, right?
Yeah.
And it cannot be blocked by block active skills either. So if you start throwing him into like a counterattack scenario, maybe a Valkyrie or a Skull Crusher, when you're progressing in the arena, you can imagine how many times you're going to be proccing this out and ignoring that chunk of defense against the enemy team. And also on top of that, he's got a relatively good stun chance on those enemies if he fully depletes a target, which is great for the faction wars as well. So
Okay,
overall, I
man.
think he's a pretty cool champion. Yeah.
Okay. You know, fair. Does he smack hard, man? Like, 'cause I'll be real with you, dude. I
Yeah.
used him in a couple areas. I feel wasn't he a fragment summon back in the day?
He was a
Yeah.
fragment, yeah.
So like I fragment summoned him, and I wasn't impressed, and I relegated him to my vault essentially. So, does he hit really hard with the A3? Is that like the whole idea?
From what I'm aware of, like he does with that because he's ignoring so much defense, right? I'm not sure
Yeah.
the exact multipliers. I'm not sure if you want to bring them up or anything, but
Yeah. Okay, so we get the multipliers here. We have, let's see. All right, so we have a 1.75 on the A1, and we
yep,
have a 4.7 godlike rating on the A3.
yep.
Interesting. Okay, well, hey, you know what? Maybe I'll give him a try. You kind of talked me into giving him another shot. He does have 1641 base attack too, so there's that. So yeah, okay. A good choice, man. Good choice because I'm not a fan. But again, I haven't given him a much of a shot here.
Do you know what it
Okay.
is? It's also his passive ability is immune to stuns.
So, yeah.
So if you're getting locked off by those mighty Ukos or whatever that may be in the arena, it's just
Yeah.
a really cool counter to that and still get that single target nuke off. So
I
pretty
will
fun.
say, I wish that it was. Maybe it applies here. Doesn't you know how sometimes they word things weird in the game? But I wish it was also use this skill when ally attacking. Do you know if he uses that skill when allied, or is it just counterattack, just like Valkyrie and Retribution?
That's a good question.
It would be cool.
It'd be cool to actually try that. I'll dive
Yeah.
into that and see how that
Okay.
works.
All right, sounds good. Mine is going to be. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how people feel about this dude yet, but it's Alsgore Crimson Horn. I
Oh.
think people like Alsgore Crimson Horn, the people who have him, right? But I love this dude, man. Like I really love this dude. I think he's like. It's hard to say top tier, but he's really, really good, right? So he has increased chance of increasing the duration of 2 random debuffs on the target on his A1. He's got a nice heal on the A1. On the A2, removing 100% chance of removing 2 random buffs from all enemies. It's kind of like a mini Mighty Uko, but it's on a 3-turn cooldown here, right? And then a continuous heal, big version, obviously on all allies for 2 turns. And then he has a complete heal on a 4-turn cooldown with like a mini Helicath here with block damage on all allies for 2 turns on a 4-turn cooldown. So obviously for a block damage champion, for a great healing champion, all those continuous heals really add up, and these heal on every ability, really. Heal on the A1, A2, A3, and then the passive, Tramble, when attacked, 50% chance of placing a decreased speed big version on the attacker for 2 turns. I'm not a fan of Jetney the Giant at all, dude. But this guy alone, doesn't matter if he's with his companion or not. I feel like he's really, really good. That passive too, really nice to have.
Yeah, he's a really cool champion. Like, when I had access to him before, I tried him out, and I was like, I wish that Owlsguard was the fusion, not Jetney the Giant.
I know.
I thought he was actually really cool. Like, the way that I was using his A3, right? Probably a bit different to how most players will. But there's like a budget variation of a block damage team, right? Where you don't have the 2 block damage options like a Warcaster or another Helicath and stuff.
Yeah.
And what I was doing is just forcing the stun onto the stun target, of course, letting them lose the damage, and then using that again to fully heal them back up for the next stun.
Yeah.
So in that way, it's
That's
like
cool.
you don't need an extra option. So it was really cool.
That's really cool. I use him in the arena sometimes just to have a, as an alternative to Helicath, I guess. He's not quite as effective, obviously, but it's nice to have the buff removal in there on the A2, right? Because buffs are obviously everywhere. And all those heals that he brings to the table, plus the decreased speed, it was landing a lot more than I thought it would. He was actually really effective. So that would be my choice. Okay, moving on to Sacred Order. Who you got, man?
Sacred Orders. I'm going to go with Corvus the Corruptor on this one.
Ooh, cool. Cool choice. Cool choice.
Yeah, I think he's one of those champions. I'm not sure if everyone's just settled in their ways or whatever that may be. It's just I never see anyone speak about this champion since the release of him.
I know.
And I think the value is amazing because he's got attacks all enemies 2 times. And bear in mind, guys, each hit will place a 25% poisons for 2 turns. So remember here, that's 4 poisons because it's of each hit, a chance to place 2.
Yep.
And then it follows by a poison sensitivity as well. And then on his A2, the first hit will increase the duration of all enemy debuffs, very similar to the Dark Chaos, is a good reason why I use him. And then increasing the duration of ally buffs as well, very similar to Godseeker Inari, Sunlight Survivor, Anchorite.
Yeah.
Now, when you start pairing this together for one champion, I use like a stage 25 team, right? With just 3 champions, like the Reset, the Elenarals, and Corvus. And you just blow up all the waves of just him by himself because he's doing the poisons and the extensions. And then he's got the decreased attack for the boss, and then damage reduction on his passive as well for targets under specific poisons. It's like, he's just amazing for so much PvE content in this game that he should definitely get more love, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. I use him in a dragon team, like a dragon heart team, and he is just he's like a motor, man, that like powers that entire team. So much poison synergy. Totally agree with you. Really, really cool champion. I'm gonna go with there's so many candidates here, I feel like, right? Because I'm actually a big fan of a lot of these champions. I've mentioned Abyss recently, so I won't pick her. Instead, I'm actually going to pick Errol. Only because I get a lot of comments talking about how Errol sucks still. And I don't think he sucks anymore. I mean, granted, he's just a nuker, and there's a lot of nukers in the game. So there is that like fair criticism if that's what you have to say about this dude. But he hits really hard now. He gets the extra 30% chance of inflicting a critical hit, a 2-time hitter, with each hit ignoring 15% of the target's defense on Helmbreaker. It is a massive buff to this dude. This guy, a 1674 with good multipliers on the base attack and his multipliers. Negation hits really, really hard as well and grants an extra turn if the target is killed. So you can pop off 2 at a time there. This guy has destroyed me in live arena. Like, I've underestimated him because I'm like, oh, it's Errol. Even me, you know? And this guy, like, he can smack. He's a really good nuker now. So,
yeah, do you know what? He's actually a champion I've never tried out before. I don't own him or anything. But just looking at his aesthetics, right? If you just turn him around quickly,
Yep.
he's actually got like Hell Hades logo on his back. I never noticed that.
What's up with that, huh? I call copyright infringement, Errol.
That's
Yeah,
funny.
dude. Nah, but yeah, he's definitely worth trying out if you're ever looking for a nuker. Again, man, like
Yeah.
great multipliers with almost 1700 base attack, just tons of damage from this dude attacking all battles. And you can use him now in, other areas as well as like a wave clear and stuff like that. So I think that he's a great option if somebody had him in the vault or something like that, and wasn't aware of how OP he is now in terms of damage. Check him out. High Elves, my man. Who you got?
High Elves is going to be. Which one would I say is underrated here? I think I'm gonna go with Basilius Rowanus on this one.
Whoa, okay, that's a good one. That's a good
Yeah.
one.
I think he's a champion that a lot of people maybe sleep on or just the power creep. But I feel like one place that he's underrated for is the Dark Fae with the A3. Because he attacks all enemies and has a 100% chance to stun once booked, which is actually pretty cool in itself. So you can hypothetically kill off those mirror copies. But then he also decreases each target's turn meter by 50% if the stun debuff is not placed. And one thing that we can't stun is the Dark Fae, therefore we're going to be doing a turn meter reduction on the boss immediately in the same skill. And I think for consistency, right, like think about maybe a Relentless set and just using this for turn meter afterwards, or just for pure DPS and the occasional turn meter. I think it's really nice, but also the damage output on the triple puncture on the A2.
Yep, yep.
It's a 3-time hitter that ignores a bunch of conditions as well as defense by 50%. I think he's a nice niche champion, nice filler maybe for like tag team arena or just for some fun. I really like him.
I agree. I've actually seen, like, he's definitely far from meta, but I've actually seen some
Yeah.
people using him in, like, higher live arena, too. They might just be messing around, to your point, and having some fun, but
Yeah.
you're right. Like, that A2 is definitely cool, as well as that A3 letting that stun, like an Astralon or a Ragash or something like that.
Yeah.
So, really, really cool. And he got buffed about a year ago. His multipliers got buffed, and I think that stun got buffed. I think it was like I forgot what it was, maybe like a 50% chance before or whatever.
Oh, really? I can't recall that.
So now it's 100%. So I'm tempted to go Pixneal because everybody hates me for defending Pixneal all the time. But I really want to go. I want to go Pixneal, but I'm going to go Bellinor, right? Because Bellinor is another champion who got a buff, and like this guy is absolutely insane now. He's really Bellinor in a lot of ways is. He's just one of the top tier debuffers inside the entire game. Granted, he's a Void Legendary, he should be. But when they changed this A2 to an AoE attack, it used to be a single target, it suddenly made him just incredible, right? And he's placing a perfect veil on himself for 2 turns. He's got decreased defense and weaken. That puts him in a conversation. Having decreased defense and weaken on the same AoE 3-turn cooldown ability, there's only like 3 or 4 champions in the game that have that, right? So like a Venus, a Dracomorph, a Bellinor, I think there's one more still, but still, I mean, really, really cool stuff. If he's with Xavier, he can do some incredible like speed runs, stuff like that. Overkill, this ability with surplus damage as well. On a 3-turn cooldown, it has like a 6.7 multiplier, something ridiculous to it. It's an incredibly hard-hitting ability. So if you're looking for a blend of nuker with both of the strong debuffs, Bellinor now is really, really good. That's all I gotta say, I guess. Have you tried Bellinor since the buff?
I haven't. No, I've never tried him like ever, just on anyone's account. So it's really interesting to hear about him because I actually don't see a lot of him, as you said.
No.
But when I'm revisiting the kit now, in hindsight, it's actually really good and becomes even better with that Xavier pairing, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you can have I think some of the fastest teams in the world, maybe on Ice Golem, are him and Xavier on a team with that tactical partner ability as well. All right. Next, Bannerlord. Actually, yeah, you already gave your Ronus. My bad. I'm like, did you go yet? Bannerlords, you're up.
This one we're going to go for Sigmund the High Shield.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I think he's one of the most underrated fusions we've ever had, in my opinion. Simple reason being, on the Shield of Realm on a 3-turn cooldown, places a shield buff equal to 30% of this champion's max HP, not their max HP, which I never like to see. So you actually get a lot of coverage from this being a tanky champion. But also placing that Strengthen in the same skill, which is also very underrated in this game. Like the value of Strengthen and Shield together, maybe paired with Allied Protection from another champion, it's an amazing thing to have in one skill. But also, if we think about Head of Decay, provoking him up, he's going to be doing that on his A2 as well, with alongside a decreased attack as well in the same one. Like really nice synergy there. and then has a chance of removing shield buffs in specific scenarios, and a chance of removing one random buff as well, but a 100% chance against bosses. So in a hypothetical scenario, if they steal some of your buffs in the Hydra, you could go through, steal some of those back, and then also when he's hit, has a chance of decreasing the duration of those with
I
the
love
passive
that.
as well.
Yeah.
So really nice synergy. I like it.
I love that equitable, to your point, for Hydra, right? Like, whenever the champ is attacked, has a 40% chance to decrease the duration of all buffs. Like, if you're short on buff strippers on your team or block buffs champions, like, he adds just a little bit more. Like, he adds so much in so many different areas. So I totally agree. As a matter of fact, he's who I was going to pick. So now
Oh, really?
I gotta go for a backup plan here. You know what? I've given crap to in the past Helier for like disappointing me a little bit, because like when I first got this dude, I was like, that's it, game over. I was really excited, right? And for whatever reason, he just never found like a niche on my account or whatever. But his kit is still really, really good for, I would say, like 95% of players. Unless you're end game, you can use this guy in so many different areas. As a support champion, he has an AoE attack with a shield on the A2. And then this harsh light, right? 3-turn cooldown, transfers all debuffs from all allies to a target enemy, then attacks that enemy, converts his resistance into accuracy when using the skill. Really, really love this ability, right? Because, I mean, what's better than cleansing all allies, but transferring all their debuffs to the enemy, right? Then attacks the enemy with the default skill, which is the A1, which increases his defense and also heals this champion after. So it's a pretty cool kind of synergy there between the A3, the A1. And then whenever an ally has 2 or more debuffs and is attacked, he'll absorb 30% of the damage inflicted. So it's a nice kind of very unique, I would say, passive damage mitigator in his kit as well. His shield isn't as much, like the downside to him is I was hoping for a big, beefy shield.
Yeah.
And it's just not that much damage coming from this ability from a defense-based champion with a 1,500 plus base defense, you know? But other than that, it's a really cool way to have support, tankage, shields, damage mitigation, and kind of a semi-cleanse in there too.
Yeah, he's really cool. Like, the highlight for me would be against the hard mode dragon. I think he's got a very good utility for that.
Get those poison, yeah.
The A3, just send all of those back as well. If you don't have enough accuracy, you convert it from the resistance, and it's going to be really good. But I'll tell you a fun story about this guy while we're here, really briefly. Apart from the Teletubby shield, we love that. When I first got him, right, I booked him up. I ran at the chance. I thought, wow, we just found out a new strategy, right? I booked up all of his skills, got down the cooldowns, and I thought that I can send the bombs from Bommel back to him. I was really tired that day, and then I remembered they're protected, so I wasted a bunch of books on this dude.
Oh man!
So I've got a booked Helios sitting there. He's chilling, but he's really fun. I would say I like him from time to time.
Yeah, that's a cool. I gotta mess around with that harsh light and dragon. To your point, that could be really cool. Like putting him on the same team as Staltus. And just like throwing everything back at the dragon.
Sure. I tried it with your boy Jing1. I tried it with him.
Oh boy.
you send them all back, right, with both, because he does it on the default skill. He does it on an active skill. And then Jing1 can also extend the value of it as well. So it's just always up. It's a really cool synergy. But
that is interesting. But okay, let's move it on. Orcs.
Orcs. Ooh. Underrated from here.
This is a tough one because I feel like a lot of them are like properly rated or suck.
Do you know what? This one might be surprising to you.
Okay,
right?
hit me.
I'm going for King Garog.
Whoa, it is surprising. He just got a buff, right?
I believe so. King Garog is, I believe he was a fusion as well ages ago, or maybe not. He just came out at the same time as a fusion.
Yeah.
But basically, with the Gore Maker, I only found out about this because of the faction games that Deadwood held. But he attacks all enemies and will ignore 20% of each target's defense and will ignore a further 5% for each buff on the target. Now, I'm not saying for like the most endgame players in the world, like even though you could have some value for that. But if we think about the meta in Arena, especially live Arena, right, where there's so many buffs, it's so hard to control. You might not have a strip champion in there like Madame Ceres, they've been banned. Like, this is a lot of defense you're going to be able to ignore by simply having buffs on the enemies. And I've definitely gone through some really tanky teams with this ability. But you can also kind of reset the cooldowns or decrease it with the A2 to get back to that ability more quickly as well. Also a stun chance on the A1, pretty decent. But on the passive, increases this champion's speed by 6 and his crit damage by 7 for each enemy he kills in a round and will stack up to a higher value. So the more that he's in those longer battles, i.e.
Yeah.
the live arena, you're going
Yeah.
to see a more true value of King Garrock.
That's an interesting call out. I forgot what they even buffed on him.
I think it could have been a
Or am I making
multiplier
that
thing
up?
maybe.
Yeah,
Or
maybe. Because I'm like, I don't really notice anything different here. But you're right. So it's on a 5-turn cooldown. Each critical hit has a 50% chance of reducing that cooldown. You got 4 hits. So potentially you can like burn through everybody, come back with the A2, then come right back with the A3 again, potentially.
potentially.
Or
Yeah.
close too. That's interesting. That's it. Maybe I'll give him a try. That's a cool call out there. Okay, I'm gonna go with. I mean, this one. I think I'll go with. It might be a little bit obvious, maybe. But I think that Tila is a real, like, absolute monster now, and I think that probably most people realize that. But she's really, really good. You know, she's got the stealing a random buff from the target, stealing another one if the target's under 2 or more buffs. Kind of a nice A. I like stealing buffs on A1s. And then we have the AoE, HP burn, 3-turn cooldown, and then a continuous heal for 2 turns. I love the heal plus the burn, 100%. And then another AoE, increase the duration of all burns by 1 turn, and then a leech and a hex. Dude, that's a lot to be adding. She's gotten several buffs throughout the years, I would say. But this most recent one, they added the leech, they added the hex, they added, I forgot what else they did. They changed it to AoE. She used to be so bad, bro, that I
Yeah.
forget all the buffs that she's gotten. But now she's not bad. She's actually really, really, really good, I think.
Yeah, she's
Lot
one
of
of the best
HP.
Hydra champions in the game for sure. But do you know what? I'll tell you a fun fact, right? I used to love Tila before she got any kind of buff.
Wow,
Everyone
dude.
they used to take the mick out of me. I knew she wasn't like crazy. I just really had a little soft spot for her.
That's cool.
Tila.
So what did she, was it Pyre Strike, the A2? Was that just a single target? Was that what it
It was
was?
it was like a single target burn, and then she places the continuous heal, and
Gross.
she didn't have the hex before either.
I
So-
know. Oh God, man. Okay, well, great. Now your girl's really, really good. So you must be super excited.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's go to Skinwalkers, man. Who you got? Who you got?
I'm gonna have to just say the same champion. I've said it quite a lot around the place. Snake Track.
I knew
So,
it,
yeah.
dude. I want this dude so bad. Tell me why I'm missing out.
Yeah, Snake Track is so underrated, and he was actually, for anyone that's not aware, he was made by a community member in a contest, very similar to how Calvalax was, which I thought was really nice to begin with.
Yeah.
But he does a decreased attack before attacking, which is really good for those poison cloud situations against Head of Wrath before he procs his rage and stuff. So really nice synergy there if they're under a leech. He does have an AoE decreased speed and places a protected shield if the target is under a leech, and that can be any of the enemies, which is great for the Hydra boss. We then go ally protection and reflect damage in the same skill and heals himself, very similar to Taragi the Frog for some protection. And then on the Soul Rot passive, when any ally under reflect damage is hit, we'll place a leech debuff on the attacker. And obviously, we're going to have ally protection and reflect damage up at all times from the A3. So you're going to enable the before attacking for any affinity disadvantages against magic as well. And then also a protected shield, very similar to Underpriest Brogany. And I just feel like the synergy is just bonkers for players. Like, I was saying earlier to Nubs as well, I was like, I would love this guy to be a guaranteed champion in the future. I think he'd make a really good one.
Me
Yeah.
too, bro. Me too. I want him, and I also want to check out Samson the Masher. Have you tried him?
Yeah, Samson the Masher, he's a really fun one. Like,
Yeah,
I would say. I wasn't like
yeah.
blown away with the damage, but he can do some crafty stuff in the arena for sure.
Okay,
with the
but-
stuns and stuff.
Back to Snake Track. I only have one question. He looks super cool. I have not played around with him at all. So my only question is with that extra damage from Reflect in his kit in like areas like Hydra, like does that add up? Is it basically this? You mentioned Brogny. Is it like the similar type of damage, like, or is it super noticeable? You know?
I would say that he's above other reflect damage champions in the game.
Yeah.
But he's not as impactful as a Under Priest, like nowhere
Okay,
near. So
okay.
he's one of those ones where it's not useless. Like, let's just say the Head of Wrath has stolen one of your heads, right? Hypothetically. And then he procs that crazy ability when he gets to the turn counter. You'll see a big tick of damage, especially if you've got reflect damage on everybody. So it's noticeable in that sense, but maybe against those targets that don't hit too hard, you won't see it too much.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Great call out there. I'm gonna go with Let's see. I feel like I've been picking some really, really like beast mode ones. I'm gonna go with Cleotyrix. Cleotyrix, dude.
Oh, nice one.
She
I
is,
like that.
yeah, dude. She's every time I use her, which is mostly faction wars at this point, but I've even tried her in the arena. It's like, wow, bro. She hits so freaking hard, right? B, I mean, she's bringing so much to the table other than just nukes, right? She's got self buffs, increased crit rate, increased crit damage on herself. Then she attacks all enemies. Block active skills on targets under Hex, so great synergy there. A total lockout on a 3-turn cooldown. Then on the A3, she's got on a 4-turn cooldown, increase accuracy on this champion. Then attacks everybody with a hard-hitting nuke. And then she's placing the Hex for 3 turns, which is great because on a 4-turn cooldown. And then a 100% chance of placing a fear for 1 turn instead on enemies already under the Hex debuffs. So you add all that to counterattacks with the default skill every time this champion loses 30% HP or more in a single turn. Always counterattacks when attacked if 2 or more allies are dead. And then she has the perfect veil on the A1. If you kill somebody under Hex, just a lot of Hex synergy. She's bringing the increased accuracy to help her land because you don't want to, build your nukers with have to concentrate a ton on accuracy on top of everything else, but the increased accuracy allows her to be really good in the arena, right? Because obviously that's where you need a lot of accuracy, and that's where you want to get the most out of her nukage as well. So I think Cleotyrix is really, I mean, talking about like my favorite Spirit Affinity nukers inside the entire game, I think it'd be like Cleotyrix, Ragash, and Yannica, and she's right up there in that conversation to me. Really love her, really love her. I mean, if you have another Hex placer on the team, you just come in with the A2 and you're blocking their active skills, right? It's really cool. I keep like drooling over her right now, but the increased crit rate, increased crit damage too, allows her to absolutely just nuke the faces off of anybody. So really cool champion, and she's a daily login reward eventually too.
Yeah, I'm actually really guilty of not using Cleopteryx yet.
Yep.
I really need to.
She's cool. She's cool. She's cool.
I've heard a lot of good things about her for sure.
If you're looking for a ton of damage and some hexing and control, then look no further, man. She smacks.
I'll give her a shot. I'll let you know.
Okay. Lizardmen.
Ooh, very limited faction, I'd say.
Right? Not too many choices, man.
I'm gonna underrate. Do you know what? I'm gonna go for the Sausage Man. Vergamcar.
You took my pick again. Dude, he's
to be fair, I did have another choice as well. You can take this one. Sure? Last chance.
Who is your other one? Who's your other one?
I got Chagor as well.
Chagor? All right. Well, go. Let's just both talk about both of them. I love Chagor as well. Okay. So Chagor, where do you use this dude?
Chagor, I would say I've kind of moved past it a little bit nowadays, but when I was first going through the Doom Tower, right, I didn't have a seer for years. I've told you this before, right? But the way that you can utilize this to go through and then consistently use as passive, where you can instantly use as A1, which is a sleep debuff, every single time they're about to take a turn, it's like a consistent cycle of always locking them out. And when you think about those Rotos and Siffy waves or the multi Macabs, I found it very impactful, and he deals some good damage as well. But away from that, he's actually really good for the Sand Devil's Necropolis as well, right? Being able to utilize the sleep debuff and things.
Yeah.
So I just think he's just like a nice, quirky champion. But mainly for me, the value I seen was a Doom Tower clearer to help you out.
You know what I love about this dude too? And I think that this Venom Storm ability, right? Like I think it's the ability he's most known for, obviously, in his kit, right?
Yeah.
But just the fact that it's a 2-time hitter on a 3-turn cooldown. And my man's on a 3-turn cooldown, he's placing a poison for 4 turns. And then a decreased defense for 3 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. So, like, that to me is like the duration of the debuffs, essentially, right? Is like the magic of his kit. I mean, he's placing poison for more rounds than it takes him to get back to the poison anyway, which allows him to always go in with a constant agony, which allows him to always go in with the A1 with a sleep, It's just it's a really powerful ability. He can deal so much damage too for a debuffer, He's I agree, really cool champion.
Charizard from Pokemon.
Sure. Everybody's gonna hate me, but I've known nothing about Pokemon, and my name is Ash. Is that weird?
Oh, that's crazy. I thought you was like
I'm
you'd
old,
be a big fan
bro.
of it.
I'm old, man. I'm old. I guess, but I think Pokemon's been around for a long time though. But for whatever reason, when I was a kid though, it wasn't like no, I don't think anybody ever talked about it until I was like graduated from high school. So I totally
Oh, is
missed
it?
it. Totally missed it. Anyway, I digress. Virgum Carr, I'm stealing him from you, man. Dude, I'll be quick on this one. Like his buff was similar to Bellinor, right? Probably even better. He's just unbelievable, right? He's removing a random debuff and provoke on a 3-turn cooldown. He's got increased defense. He's got a shield based on his max HP, and that's the A2. On the A3, he's removing a buff from each enemy. 100% of removing 2 buffs from each enemy. He's got heal reduction and the big version of decreased defense on a 3-turn cooldown. I mean, I don't even have to say anymore, man. Like this dude he's immune to provoke, I guess, right? Stuns, immune to provoke, increased defense, decreased defense, removing buffs, removing debuffs. I mean, this guy does it all. That's it.
Yeah, he blew my mind since he got the buff. To be fair, like I don't have him personally, but when I was rereading his kit like a month ago,
yeah.
I thought he'd be a really cool counter to maybe some Harima teams in a sense. Like, I've not tried it out to see if it's going to be valuable, but because every single time a champion attempts to place a provoke debuff, he gets a 20% turn meter fill. Maybe in those arena scenarios, he can boost his turn meter into his A2, cleanse the provoke, place an increased defense, and let your defense-based nukers have a go at them.
Yeah,
and I feel like that synergy might be really cool.
No, you're absolutely right. That's kind of a cool idea there. I think... Yeah. Most importantly with this dude, he went from a guy who I never liked him. You know, like some people kind of liked him as a niche champion before the buff.
Yeah.
I never really cared for him. But now I think that for any player progression, we're talking like basically any dungeon in the entire game. I guess maybe with the exception of Fire Knight, but if you can get away with it, like he's doing the job of like 2 or 3 champions in one champion. And to me, that's the magic to look for in progression in Raid Shadow Legends, right? Like if I can find somebody who's increased defense and a shield and removing buffs and like everything that he's doing, it gives me so much more room to put extra healers or revivers or nukers if I want to speed up my time. So now to me, he's one of the most kind of essential all-around champions out there in the game. Ogryn Tribes, even fewer choices here. What do you got?
Oof. Ogryn Tribes. Man, this is a tough one. Oh, you know what I'm going to say. Gerda.
Gerda! I was ready for you, man. That's the last time we had you on the channel.
Joyce, I can't consider her underrated because I like her so much, right? So, there we go.
Dude, I think you convinced a lot of people out there when you were on with the Gerda video that she's a lot more than people thought she was.
Yeah, but just to like quickly go into it, I guess like she does the way of placing her poisons. It just places it as well, so you don't have to worry about the affinities. Also has a chance of removing 1 random buff from the enemies as well, or 2, and also 2 from allies, which is nice when you're getting debuffed. We've got a weaken in there as well, and we've got a debuff spread on the A1. Really cool passive to manipulate turn meter. She's just an overall queen of the poisons, and she's also free to get from the daily login reward program through fragments, but you just get her later into the game, right?
Yeah. Very cool. You replaced Bad El Khazar, if I'm correct, with her, correct?
Yeah, and then since then, like now I've replaced it with Corvus, like the one we spoke about earlier. So.
Okay.
So we're switching it all around now.
There's a lot of good options here in Ogryn Tribe. I can't say he's underrated, but boy, Kurigar Deathbell might be like my most wanted champion. It looks so cool, but
I think you're right. I think he is underrated.
Okay, then I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna go with it because nobody talks about this dude. It's kind of again one of those champions which is added to the game that like. Not a lot of fanfare, but holy crap, man. I don't have him, so I don't want to like talk too much out of my behind here, but he looks insanely good on the A2, right? First of all, HP base champion, almost 22k base stats, 103 speed, 1255 on the defense. In AoE, 100% chance of filling a turn meter of all allies by 30%, and then 100% chance when booked of removing all, or a full cleanse, right? Then you get to the A3, so you got turn meter fill by 30%, you get a cleanse, and then you get ally protection and a strengthen all on a 3-turn cooldown, and then increases champion's resistance and defense for each ally protect on all allies. Also increases ally resistance and defense by 5% for each ally protection on allies. If there are multiple champions, blah, blah, blah. Counterattacks whenever an ally under ally protection is attacked can occur once per enemy turn, and that leads to healing himself on the A1, right? So, like, perfect synergy there. I don't know. I think I can't wait to get my hands on him someday. I want him to be a guaranteed champion at some point.
Yeah, he looks really cool. I like him. But as you were just saying, like, the utility is really strong. I did have a chance to try him on the test server when he came out as well, and I thought he was like really useful for like main thing was for me was Hydra, PvP.
Yeah,
was to that.
I was gonna say those are the two areas I want to try him in, like I guess in like a bolster set or something, and just be the absolute tank of my PvP team. And of course for Hydra, I mean, he's bringing a lot. Dude, he's bringing so much. He's bringing like everything you need, right? I love turn meter fill on my teams. I love obviously cleanses. And then the ally protection plus strengthen, that's one of the best damage mitigating abilities inside the entire game on this A3, right? 50%, 75% damage mitigation on a 3-turn cooldown. Really cool. All right, next. Knight's Revenant, my friend.
Ooh. Knight's Revenant. Who would I say is underrated from here?
I got three, so you can't steal my pick this time, man.
Oh, man. And I'm struggling with one here.
Want me to go first on this one? Want to go first?
I'll let you go first on this one. I'm going to have to think about this one.
Okay. I'm going to go... Oh, I love so many champions, but I'm going to go with Whirlum Frost King, man. Like, I think this dude is a monster of a champion. Some people still throw shade at this dude. I don't know why. He's got one of the best Doom Tower defensive auras in the games. He's got strengthen and increased defense now on a 3-turn cooldown. It used to be 4-turn cooldown. He got a big buff like a year and a half ago. He was actually a Battle Pass champion. I don't know if you were playing back in Battle Pass days.
Yeah, I got the Battle Pass, yeah.
Yeah, it was like the Bears, the epic Bears, and then Whirlum was the legendary.
Then
like
we had Frozen Banshee in there as well, right?
Yes. Engraved Chill Killer. Those are like the first two rares, and then anyway. But this AoE, they revamped this too. We're getting decreased crit damage and decreased accuracy. Decreased crit damage, I don't think it's a good debuff to have at all, but the decreased accuracy certainly is, and it can't be resistant on a 3-turn cooldown. Increased crit damage, I think, is great to have, and that is on a 3-turn cooldown as well on all allies. So we get an AoE attack, like just a lot going on here. I love that they can't be resisted. We don't need the accuracy, at least for the A2. On the A1, we get a 50% freeze, perfect veil on the ally lowest HP for 2 turns if the freeze is placed, a veil if it's not placed. He's just bringing a lot of support, man. A lot of support, decent damage, little bit of control with the A1. And in terms of anywhere that you need survivability in Doom Tower, whether it's a boss, whether it is a floor, like Whirlum is probably one of the best champions you can get. Again, that aura combined with all that survivability that it brings to the table. And then anywhere else, like dungeon-wise, that you just need someone to help keep your team alive, he's definitely the guy for the job.
Yeah, really good champion. Like that decreased accuracy, like not being able to be resisted.
Yes.
Really nice. That's actually really nice. I forgot he had the non-resistible. Maybe good for Hydra as well in some teams.
Yeah, it would be cool to try him out there. Who you got?
For me, now that I've finally decided, it's going to be Verse of the Grim I'm going to go with.
Whoa, cool choice.
Yeah, so Verse of the Grim is, I feel like he's very underrated for the Demon Lord clan boss. A reason being, increased defense, ally protection on a 3-turn cooldown in the same skill. Really, really strong, right?
Yeah.
But he also applies a leech on his A2. Has a 100% chance of placing a leech, allowing you to heal by 18% of the damage inflicted. So you do not need lifesteal gear, for instance, for anyone progressing. And also, away from that, he's got a bit of provoke mechanics in there. Maybe for some Doom Tower stuff, some secret rooms, some arena stuff.
I wonder if you try him for Hydra.
I would actually consider him for Hydra with the leech and stuff and the protection.
That's what I'm saying. You get the protection, you get the leech, and as like a second provoker on your team, just like as kind of like a failsafe. Could be kind of cool there. Go on.
Yeah. I forgot what I was saying now. Oh, it's gone. But yeah, basically, he's a great champion, guys.
Sorry, brother.
Really
And you know what? Kind of sneaky damage dealer too. Like I used him in.
That's what I was gonna say.
Okay, there we go. Boom.
There you go. You read my mind.
Yeah.
Go on.
There's some HP only secret rooms in Doom Tower, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I obviously run him because there's not that many HP like AoE nukers or whatever. And boy, he can out damage almost everybody else HP base in the game. So like that says something about him as well. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was gonna give it to like the other champs I was thinking of were Shemnath and Eric's. Really love both those champions. But anyway, I digress. Dark Elves, who you got?
Dark Elves, I'm gonna go for. Man, this is a sticky one. I feel like none of them are underrated in here. Is that bad to say? If I was to choose one,
So bad. You're in deep trouble. No, I'm joking. Yeah. I agree though. I agree. There's like everybody's like really good or maybe not,
yeah,
you know.
I'm gonna go for Vizier of Elis. Actually,
Okay. Okay.
I think Vizier of Elis has been not spoken about for a long time.
No.
I still think he's very, very cool in a way you could just use his A1 skill and change your clan boss team, right? Like if you're struggling to keep debuffs up there or anything like that, utilizing A1s, you're sorted. Pretty much. That debuff has never fallen off. And apart from that, he's got debuff spread effects, maybe taking a burn from the spider, put it onto the spiderlings and stuff like that. So there is some niche uses for those.
There is.
And then block buffs and heal reduction, decrease attack. But the main thing for me is just no books required. Obviously, it's better with the books for a bonus value. But straight out the packet, a really solid champion for players progressing in the clan boss.
Completely agree with you there. I'm gonna go with. I guess I'm gonna go with. Geez, you're right. This is a tough
a
one,
hard one.
right? It
Yeah.
really is. I'm gonna go with. I have such a soft spot for. It's between Ghostborn and Foley. Who do you think is more underrated out of those two? And I'll talk about them.
I'd probably say Foe. I feel like
Foley.
Ghostborn is used a lot, I think.
Okay,
maybe.
okay, fair. So Foley, I love this dude, man. Like I really like this guy in the arena, obviously. Sealed Fate, you get a double hit on the tankiest enemy or whatever, and then everybody else, and you get a block revive. But then he's got a quadruple hit on the A1 and the A2. It's just insane, right? And now,
Yeah.
this, I guess, two different areas. Fire Knight, to me, he's one of the best Fire Knight champions inside the entire game. Maybe like the best. I don't know. Maybe that's a little bit too much, but he's up there, right? So his A1 has decreased defense, which is great because I run like Tomb Lord on my Fire Knight hard team, and Tomb Lord has to come in there, and I don't want to use his A3, right, where he has decreased defense on it, but there's no hits for that shield. But Foley is going to be a reliable decreased defense champion on this A1, especially with all the ally attacks and counterattacks or whatever you have going on the team. Then he's got the leech on the A2 and the 4-time hitter, plus like Phantom Touch if you want to grab that as well. I mean, that's a lot of freaking hits on that shield, right? And then in the arena, this living armor is probably one of the most annoying abilities to go against, one of the most powerful passives to have on your team. Whenever an enemy places a stun, freeze, sleep, or provoke on this champion, instantly removes the debuff, heals them by 20% of their max HP, and boosts their turn meter by 50%. So, I mean, if you're going against a Torment team or any stun team, I mean, a Mighty Uko, for example, right? Like you mentioned earlier, it's going to strip everything, boost that turn meter, and then he's just going to decimate everybody. Block Revive is so annoying and so amazing because there's so many revivers out there right now in the meta. So I love Foley. I think he's incredible, and really with Fire Knight hard, it opened my eyes to how amazing he can be outside of just that one arena, you know?
Yeah. He always catches me off guard in the arena. Like, I'm so used to when you're just going through Classic and stuff, and you just, like, you put the Kaimar, you sleep, like the traditional team. And I always forget about the passive sometimes, and he's just like, I'm cutting in here. I'm about to get you. Then someone might die and gets block revived.
It's so true. He's a great, I feel like a lot of people do that, and I feel like he's a great live arena champion for that very reason. If they run a Kaimar, if they run, there's so many different champions that have freeze, sleep, stun, and provoke, but any of those champions, you're like, got a secret weapon with Foley on your team. And then he blocks their revive, and it's game over. All right, who you got for Undead Horde?
Ooh, I'm probably gonna go for Harvest Jack on this one.
Okay.
I like
this
Harvest
guy.
Jack.
I like him too a lot. Yeah.
Did you know that the skulls around his chest is the 4 starter champions?
It is. We got Galek.
Really cool little Easter egg there, right?
Yeah. What one is I can't. Oh, that's Aethel, and that is that
Aethel, Elhain, K,
Elhain over there. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. But why do you love him? Not just because of the necklace, right?
Well, so basically, he does have like the true fears, right? True Fear, decrease speed, and decreasing turn meter if the target's under True Fear or when he places it. I feel like when I first got him, he made a huge impact, but still to this day, True Fear is very impactful, especially for the arena. So let's just say for anyone progressing, you want to just CC the waves. It's a really good form of this. But also in the Hydra, right? I spoke about this briefly maybe 6 months ago now. But this is he came out before the Hydra boss was, and when he's attacked, decreases the duration of all buffs on the attacker by 1 turn. And this doesn't have a cooldown, and I think it's very underrated for the Hydra because if you're always getting stolen and he's always decreasing the duration from those enemy hits, they're always going to be wiped out. And I like to pair him with Nari the Lucky, right? And it's so fun. Like, even if they're stealing it, it's all good to go.
That's cool.
But,
That's cool.
Yeah, really cool.
You're
And
right.
He's got the block buffs as well.
You're right. When I think of this dude, I do not think of his passive, you know? Like, I think of his A2 and his A3 primarily, but you're right. And a really cool kit. A lot of cool synergy there.
Even in the arena as well, think about this in the longer battles. You'll be reducing so many buffs on this.
Yeah, so true. Maybe I ought to dust him off again and run him on one of my squads. Let's see. I'm going to go with... so many choices here, so many choices, but... I think for me it is Vlad. I hate to keep picking champions that have gotten buffs, but Vlad went from really mediocre, I would say, at best. For a Void Legendary, probably underwhelming, to now like a really, really cool champion who has a lot of use cases. He has 2 AoE attacks, right? Both of them are on a 3-turn cooldown, the A2, the A3. He's got an AoE leech. And then a lot of language here, but essentially he's either stealing 50% turn meter or decreasing 50% turn meter, right? Which is really powerful. A 50% turn meter decrease or steal on a 3-turn cooldown on an AoE is incredible. If he steals it, he's basically getting an extra turn. He's getting a full turn meter, you know, close to. On this A3, they changed this to an AoE now, and now we have a decreased defense and a block active skills and a Perfect Veil on himself on a 3-turn cooldown. Just a really, really powerful champion. Can deal some decent damage as well. Really cool when paired with Constantine the Dayborn for like Doom Tower waves. These two champions can really, like if you put some nice support around them, can just dynamic do a lockout and kill and block revive against even the top floors of Doom Tower hard. So if you don't have a Seer or a team like that, I mean, these guys are really, really incredible when together as well, or even alone. So yeah, I love Vlad. You can use him even, you know, if you're looking for more turn meter options against like Dark Fae, you can use the A3 certainly to lead things off, or you can just go right in with the A2, take the extra turns. A lot of options there. I think it was a great buff to a champion who really needed it. Was he a fusion or fragment summon way back in the day?
He was a fusion on Halloween about 2 years ago now, right?
Okay, yeah. So I'm glad they buffed him. I like when they buff fusions, man, you know?
Yeah, he's a really good one. I liked him from the start as well, but he was, like, in all honesty, a little bit underwhelming back then. But since the buff, you definitely see the value. It's crazy.
Absolutely. Demon Spawn, you are up.
Demon Spawn. Man, why is it always me struggling with these?
Because you go first, man. I get to stare at him and think about it for a minute.
Who do I think is underrated here? Probably I would go for Tyrant Exclamor on this one.
Okay.
I think Tyrant's a bit underrated.
He's a beast.
Reason being, he's got a 3-turn duration burn, and I really always valued that in this game. Like, especially for the spiders, for anyone that... Obviously, everyone's got R-Attack now, but before that, really, really strong burn option on that 3-turn. But also, for a very similar to Verse of the Grim, ally protection and increased defense on a 3-turn cooldown for the clan boss. And then on his A1 has a chance to heal himself from the damage inflicted. So it's a self form of healing for when he's protecting your allies. And I really like those synergies for ally protectors. And then also, one of the highlights being his passive, which not a lot of people speak about, decreases the damage inflicted by enemies under a HP burn by 10%. And this is very valuable for not only waves, but for bosses as well. So.
Yep. No, absolutely. A great combination of like S tier support and a lot of damage because of that burn. So
how many times have you summoned a Tyrant and then you think it's a Kaima and then it's him?
Actually, once, because I only have one of I have one Tyrant not empowered. So yeah, but you're right. They have a little they got a very similar motif going on, right?
Which one do you like more out of Kaima and him in terms of aesthetics?
Just aesthetics?
Yeah.
I think I like Tyrant more. Maybe it's because I'm so used to Kaimar that I don't fully appreciate it. But I kind of like the flame the flaming hands and stuff and the colors a little bit more on Tyrant. What about you?
Yeah, I think I'm the same. I like it.
Yeah. Okay, and then we have Helicast kind of got like the inverse, right? He's got the purple flames, but the same body on all these dudes. All right,
Yeah.
anyway, I'm actually going to go with probably a champion that people have used the least out of any of these champions, and that would be Vassal of the Seal. I
Ooh.
usually give a lot of crap to Doom Tower champions. They all have like really horrible reviews, and like when you get these champions, you're probably going to be like, oh my god, they're trash. But this is one that I actually think is a lot better than those reviews would indicate. He's got an HP burn. It's a conditional, so his A1, whatever, right? Wait, Abyssal Seal? Isn't it the same ability of Kaimar's A2?
Um.
Gaze. Okay. Gaze and seal. Okay. Okay. Anyway, Infernal Darkness, an AoE, 100% True Fear, and a decreased attack on a 3-turn cooldown. So obviously we just talked about it, like True Fear, a great ability to have in PvP. Decreased attack is really, really nice to have anywhere, right? And then this demonic or demon possession, right? It's one of these HP balance of all allies. Allies will be brought up to the highest HP, which is basically 99% of the time. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit. It's a complete heal to everybody on your team, right? To me, it's the most powerful healing ability in the game. And then after balancing HP, it gets an extra turn. So it puts him in like this he's the only dude in the game who has this sort of HP balancing ability, this sort of a heal, essentially on a 3-turn cooldown, right? Because you can just come right back to it because of the extra turn. That extra turn also allows him to basically keep Infernal Darkness up almost all the time with a decreased attack up more often. I mean, my viewers will know, and I'm sure the same way, that like these granted extra turn abilities are so incredibly powerful because it just makes everything go faster in terms of cooldowns, the rest of his kit. He also has damage mitigation and stuff like that on his passive. But really, it's a simple kit, but one of the best heals in the game, and then decrease attack. In terms of damage mitigation and healage, really, really good support champion. Is he S tier? No. And I guess the problem would be is by the time that you get him, right, you probably don't necessarily need a kit like that. But man, I just love that. If you're looking for a healer, look no further.
Yeah, no, he's
Do
really
you have
good.
him?
I
Yeah.
don't have him yet. I'm not at that point in the Doom Tower yet. Which champ is he? Which number is he? He's not the final one, is he? Is
No.
that the one before?
He's the 6th that you get. Oh, it's Jinro the Stork.
Oh, that
is
one,
the
yeah.
The last dude that you get.
The Shadowkin dude, yeah, the big nose, yeah.
Yeah. I really think he's really cool too, but I'm not gonna talk about him because no one has him. All right. Hey, we're here in dwarves. Let's just go with dwarves. Who you got?
Oh man, there's a few in here I really like. I think I'm gonna go. I always say Nari the Lucky.
Yeah, you do.
Let me think of a different one this time.
Sure.
I think I like Mountain King. I think Mountain King is very underrated.
I don't
Yeah.
like Mountain King at all.
You don't like Mountain
I
King?
don't like him. No.
I really like him. Do you know what it is? He's one of those champions I got years ago, right?
Yeah, he looks cool
But
though.
I still use him today, weirdly, like without like the memes and stuff, just in my
in what?
personal time.
In what?
In live arena, I use him.
Okay.
So
What,
you
in
throw
like a
him in like
bolster set or something?
bolster set, just raw damage. Well, I've got mine built in like crazy HP, so he never dies, right? And he just comes through this enchanted axe and he just pumps it out. And if you put him in like those counter-attack accessories and stuff, and he's going through all of the time with those single targets, I really like him. Maybe not for all players, but
Hey, fair enough, man. I probably named champions you didn't like. Like, the weird thing is Mountain King. I used to like him like way back in the day, but I don't know what it is, man. Like, I might be crazy here with this dude. First of all, I hate that he's 85 base speed. Like, dude, that's really beyond slow. I think he could use a buff, right?
yeah.
With that said, too, I think like Enchanted Axe could easily be a 75% defense ignore or even 100% on a 4-turn cooldown. But with all of that, right, I think that when I use him sometimes, he's just not dealing a lot of damage. Sometimes he just cracks skulls and is instant death, right? And other
Yeah.
times I'm like, dude, super underwhelmed. And I'm like, are you serious, bro?
Do you know what's really
Yeah.
what's really cool about him is, right? Do you know that meta that's up at the moment with the Helicaf and Ausgors and the block damage and the arena?
Yeah.
I use him in the teams that I use him in, just to clarify a little bit, is
Yeah.
when I see a Helicaf, I'm choosing a Mountain King because
Yep.
he ignores block damage and shield. And the ignoring of those two specific buffs, right, is very impactful. Like if you think about
I
the
go
big protection,
Baron for the same reason. Every time I see those
but the thing
champions.
is, but Baron, I feel like you can get away with it in Classic in live arena, mine just doesn't get a turn because he's always getting nuked, and he's like the one option I've got on my account that can kind of ignore those conditions.
I get it.
He's
So
not, he's never gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah,
To be fair, when I go with Baron, you're right. I have to go with like a Necrit or something big
I don't
to
have a
protect him,
Necrit.
to protect him. But you're right.
Yeah.
So that makes sense though. So you're using him as a like anti-Helicath type champion. That's cool.
Yeah, anti-block damage shield.
Yep. Okay, cool. I will go with Tormund the Cold. You know what? I feel like the meta, it changes. Like when not when I started playing, but whatever. When he was released to the game, he was everywhere. He was the ultimate Death Knight, if you remember back then, right? Like, and well, I guess not quite the ultimate Death Knight because not everybody had him, but he was everywhere. He was one of the most wanted champions in the game. His passive was absolutely broken. And then with Stone Skin and the evolution of how like these champions that came out and blah, 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 and nerfs to him as well, people stopped using him as much. And now I feel like it's gone too far, you know, in terms of not the hate towards Tormund, but like I just don't see him used that often. It's certainly not like he was before. But boy, there's two ways you can use this dude. I use him on my mini account with a Skrank, right? Or an Artec now I could use him, right? So I use him with that HP burn, and basically it's this. Instantly activates his skill whenever an enemy under freeze and a burn take damage from a burn. And like really, I made a video on it because like it's the cheesiest team in the world. I use him, Ninja, and a burner, any burner, right? And I don't even need Ninja on the team, but like any freeze works great, and one support champion, like a bolster set. And all you do is just sit there and watch it all happen, the magic, right? You place a burn, you place a freeze, and then every time a burn ticks, they don't even get to go. They don't even get a turn because they're all frozen anyway, right? He just comes in like unlimited AoE attacks on his A1. And that's the magic of Tormund for me on the mini account. But then I use him a lot as like kind of a nuker, as a defensive-based nuker. So sometimes in live arena, I'll pick Tormund and I'll pick a like a Helicath or whatever, or a Harima and a Tormund when they start showing me faster champions. So if they pick like an Arbiter or a Kaimar, I might throw in a Tormund and kind of mess up their go first strategy, right, with the freeze. So I love him. Or I'll just, even if they counter him, you know, with a good cleanser or something like that, right? Or a quick block debuffs champion, I'll still use him like in a nuke build, and he can remove buffs on his A2. So I love Tormund the Cold. I think he's still like a really, really fun champion to use. Plus, he's great in PvE. Like no one talks about him in PvE, but he can dish a ton of damage, great control, really tanky as well. So one of my faves.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of him for Doom Tower as well. Like, imagine if I had just got on the free to play, I'd be flying through Doom Tower.
Right?
Him and Artak back to back would be crazy.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. With Artak, I haven't even tried him with Artak yet. Now that I have him on the account as well, on the mini account, but I can't wait, man. Like, really, really cool champ. Okay. We got through Dwarves without talking too much about Nari the Lucky. That's pretty incredible, man. Now we're going to Shadowkin. Are you going to be able to get through Shadowkin without talking about your boy?
Gotta pull out the sword.
He's got the Genzin. Where's the mask, man? Where's the mask? I know you have it in reaching distance, right? No?
No, we got this one. We got the red one still.
There we go. Boop, boop, boop. All right, are you going to pick
very
Genzin?
Close to the actual Genzin. Yeah, go on.
No. Are you going to pick him?
Of course.
Okay.
I don't have to say Genzin's. He just pops up.
Yep.
So basically, Genzin is I would say, the only way to break down Genzin, people always say to me, where could you actually use this dude apart from the way that I like to always use him everywhere? I would say he's not a one-trick pony nuker, for anyone that's looking for that. He's a Energizer Bunny, jump around the place and deal a bunch of damage over time, and that's kind of where his value comes from. Because the way that he can increase his champion's speed by up to 10, if the number of champions on the champion's team is equal to or lower than the enemy's team, you can go through, you can manipulate that in certain ways, like Faction Wars example. But he does the unkillable, ignores unkillable, the shield, he tell me it fills everywhere, drop the fence, tell me to fill again, and tell me to on the A1. It's just so much tell me to fill. It's infinite turns. I love it.
Okay, me too. Was there some background noise there? Am I just making that up?
Yeah, can anyone hear that? It's the ice cream van.
Oh, the ice cream! Right on cue with Genzin, man. We were gonna do a video on Genzin today. a little behind the tearing down the fourth wall for you guys. We're gonna do a video on Genzin because I was so impressed by this dude too. Like recently, I just did a guide on him on my Raid Champion Guide channel. Long story short is like I was shocked when he outdamaged like Michinaki and Harima and like all the other nukers that I put with him in Faction Wars. And I'm like, wow, dude. Like, that's pretty insane, man, you know? So, yeah, I want to start using him in more areas as well.
Yeah.
You've got the sword already, huh?
Yeah, I have to keep it whenever Genzin's around.
Absolutely, dude.
Yeah.
Listen, so many champions I love here, but I'm actually going to go with Karato.
Okay.
There's a lot of choices, you know. I was going to go Yoshi. But Karato, I think he deserves a little bit of love because I think this guy gets a lot of hate. He was a fusion champion or something. Yeah, fusion back in the day. Obviously, he was overshadowed by his companion champion, Yumeko, who, of course, was not a fusion. But Karato's, first of all, the thing about this dude is he can smack, man. Like, he is, I was talking about the best spirit nukers in the game earlier, and I mentioned Yannicka, Ragash, and Cleotyrix, but Karato to me is actually right in that same conversation. Suppression Ward is really cool. It's got a lot of damage, and then block active skills for 2 turns. Really good ability, especially, it's weird though that it's with Yumeko companion ability because we don't need to block active skills because she's going to be resetting the skills, which is a little awkward, but who cares? You can use them alone and that's a great ability to have. But then Bed Evil on the A2 has a 2-turn stun, man. There's not that many extra turns or 2-turn stuns in this game. You can just lock out whoever the heck you want to for not 1 but 2 turns. There's nothing more frustrating than be on the receiving end of a 2-turn stun lockdown because your champion's like, okay, have fun, I'll see you later, man, because they're locked out. He's also got a triple hitter and a weaken on the A1, which honestly makes him a great choice for Fire Knight as well. Like, you get Fire Knight, he can help you get through the waves, burn through those waves, a triple hitter with the big version of weaken on each hit, a dependable rate on the A1. So this guy's more than just an arena champion as well. He also has a very unique passive. He basically blocks out, or damage inflicted by the champion cannot be decreased by enemy passive skills or masteries, which again is really unique and helpful in the arena. And damage inflicted by the champion cannot be increased by either this champion's masteries or passive skills, except when attacking bosses, which is a good exception to that rule as well. So a lot kind of going on in this kit, but he's definitely unique and can nuke.
Yeah, I got him. I've actually not tried him out with the Yumeko yet. I might give it a shot again. When I first tried him, I wasn't a fan. I was in that boat where I'm the underrated guy. Yeah. I'm the one who underrated.
No, fair enough. Why weren't you a fan?
I think it was more of the stigma in the community and nobody else liked him, and I just kind of back then I didn't take the time to proper dive into it.
That was me with Rorik. That was kind of me with Rorik, you know? But yeah, man, if you're just looking for sheer damage, dude, he's got a lot of it, man. He's a good nuker. Good nuker, maybe not the best, most exciting fusion, you know? Sylvan Watchers, man, you got like 5 to choose from or whatever.
Oh,
7.
Man. Underrated.
I know, dude.
I don't even know what they do.
I know, right?
I guess I'll speak about Kleidner a little bit. I don't think she.
I hate it.
So there's not much to choose from here.
I know. It's fair, bro. It's fair.
I just want to speak about the most unique one.
I was so excited when I pulled her, man. You have her?
No. Oh, you pulled her. Oh.
Yeah.
There you go.
I pulled her. I was so underwhelmed, bro. I was so underwhelmed, man. I was so excited. I was like, wow, this is going to be awesome. And then I was like, wow, no. Anyway, why do you like her?
It's not fun. It's not even that I like her. I ain't got a choice. All right. Lost in the Woods. That's probably where Ash's one's gone. Decreased speed and leech in the same skill. I don't think it's too bad. So you could have some use out of that.
Nope.
Also heals all allies for 20% of this max HP. Revival Death and block debuffs. Basically Sky Touch Shaman in a Void Lego instead.
Yeah. Well, this Fey Monarch was what I was excited about, right? 50% chance of, 60% chance when booked, of completely blocking the incoming damage of the first hit of an attack. But it's almost menial. Like, you almost don't even notice it. I thought it would be like...
I tried this. You just reminded me. I tried it, and I thought it worked very similar to Sepulchre Sentinel.
Yeah.
I thought it worked like that. But in fact, it only blocks the incoming damage on herself.
On herself.
For the first attack, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like... to me, a 60% chance of blocking like a big AoE attack in the arena or something, that would make her instantly worthy of a Void Legendary. But like, okay, you got a 60% chance of blocking the incoming damage from the first hit of an attack one time on her. You know, I didn't even notice it barely. You know, she was still dying and everything. Like, it wasn't. And then the block debuff and revive on death, like you said, it's just like, that's Sky Touch, man. I mean, you know, it's not awful, but like, boy, it just wasn't what I was looking for, you know? Anyway, let's see. I am going to give it to... Well, I think it's King Galkabar. Right? Because, like, this guy's a monster of a champion. He really is. His base speed is 108. He's tanky, 21k HP, 1277 defense. I ranked like the top 15 Magic Affinity champions in the game. I did not include him, and a couple people in the comments were like, dude, where's King Galkabar? And I think they were right. I think I snubbed him. Are you familiar with this kit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to cover it? Or?
No, I was just asking. All right. He's got kind of like the inverse abilities on Vitriolic Thorns and Hypertrophy. So on the A2, in an AoE attack, 100% chance of removing all buffs. Plays a poison for 2 turns on each enemy for every buff removed from them. Also has a 100% chance of placing block buffs. So it's the ultimate buff stripper with... It could be 1,000,000 poisons, depending on how many buffs you remove. And then the opposite on the A3, removing a full cleanse on all allies, and then a continuous heal for each debuff removed from them. Also plays a shield on all allies, 25% of this champion's max HP, all on a 3-turn cooldown, and then whenever an enemy under a poison debuff attacks an ally under a shield, instantly activates a poison debuff on that enemy, also instantly activates a continuous heal on the attacked ally. Dude, I mean, that's a really strong kit, bro. Fight me. You disagree?
No, I don't disagree. He's really good. Do you know what I was actually thinking, right? Do you know we got the Silver Watchers faction wars coming up early July?
Yes.
I was thinking maybe, hypothetically, I'm not sure exactly which boss it's going to be, but if it's going to have the Valkyrie wave, right, which is like the nastiest wave in the whole of Raid faction wars history, he has got the best kit for this faction because of the removing buffs and the block buffs in the same skill. I feel like he's going to be very valuable for that, but also all the things you just mentioned. really good.
He's a really, really cool champion. The only thing I will say about him is that I thought he would be a no-brainer on one of my Hydra teams, like an absolute no-brainer. And for whatever reason, it's like maybe just the synergy of the teams that I have already built, like it works so well together or whatever, but like I don't score as much damage or last as long when he's on my teams. Like, I hate to say that on a champion that I picked because his kit is so good, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't work out that like he's, you know, I don't know. I don't know why. It's probably a me thing, not a King Galkabar thing, but it's just my experience with him. Alil is, what do you feel about Alil?
I'm not sure what I think about him, mainly because I don't have him. I've not had a lot of playtesting, but I've heard that he's like usable now. Players are enjoying him a bit. I might still be wrong. It's just like from what I've heard a little bit. But...
Yeah, I mean, we've kept you here pretty long. I'll let you go. But basically, Alil doesn't do damage, man. Like, he doesn't, even with the buff, he does not deal any damage.
Really? Okay.
It's really disappointing. However, I will say this A3 is freaking good. You know? I mean, he's removing increased defense, placing a decreased defense, removing strengthen, placing a weaken, and a block buffs on enemies not under those. And all that stuff, it can't be resisted. I mean, that's really strong. Anyway, I will end it there, man. We've kept you so much. I'm like, this will probably take a half an hour YST. You're probably going to put it's bedtime for the kiddos. But dude, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your insight. I always love having you on. I'll have your channel link in the show notes below for my audience to check out. Any shout outs, anything to mention before we let you go, man?
Oh no, just appreciate you having me on. Keep being you. Loving all the content you've been putting out, and yeah.
All right, dude. Much love, guys. Thank you. Check out YST's YouTube channel. Thank you for watching all the way till the end. Let us know, who are your favorite, most underrated champions in each faction. We'll be looking forward to reading the comments on this one. What do you agree with? What do you disagree with? Let us know everything. Be harsh in the criticism, especially for yours truly. Be nice to YST. Guys, much love, and as always, take care.